What's up, good people? It's Renita, executive producer of the Better Money Story Project, and I help people create a financial roadmap to create gradual job independence. Wanted to share something with you that I was listening to last night. Attended a great training, got on a great phone call, and heard this wonderful guy, and wanted to share something with you that he was talking about. He said something that I thought was very interesting, and it's correct. So many times we talk about the four-letter words that are terrible, right? But what about this three-letter word that's not terrible, but we act like it is? And that three-letter word is own. OWN. And he talks about the fact that if we're ever going to create the kind of financial freedom that we want, and if we're ever going to keep more of our money in our pockets, then we need to focus on owning some things. And I want to give you four things that he said that we need to own. First and foremost is we need to own our time. And he secondly said that as we own our time, we um, we earn back space, if you will, to develop our spirit. That's the second thing. And then as we develop our spirit or our soul, that is what we deposit inside of ourselves, then we have more space to learn, to guide our learning. And when we guide our learning, we can then guide our earning. Okay. So I want to say that again. There are four things that you want to focus on when it comes to owning. That is your time. That's focusing on spiritual development. And spiritual development has nothing to do with a religion or a denomination or anything like that. It's about your soul. Like, what are you feeding your soul? And some people get that from motivational videos or whatnot. Some people get that from going to do something creative or just spending time with yourself so that you feed yourself well. And then the other thing is uh, feeding your soul leads to you being able to learn some new things, whether that's from a person, whether that's from a book, whether that's from a video. And then thirdly, because you learn, you are then motivated to earn more. Okay. So these are just a few things before we buy a house, before or buy more property. Maybe you already own a home, but when you think about buying more property, or when you think about let's talk about it, asset allocation, whether that's starting a business, that is definitely asset allocation as well. If you can focus on these four things, and in particular owning more of your time. Somebody asked the question last night, well, how do you focus on these things when you're just needing to get started and implementing these new habits? Well, first and foremost, I say to you, find ways to account for your time in ways that you may not now. And I want to give you this example. I told this story of how I've heard it said before that so many young people and people in general take for granted a penny that they see on the ground, or a nickel they see on the ground, or a quarter, and just say, oh, that's chump change, right? And so they just walk past it and never pick it up. Well, I heard somebody say that it is a better idea for your spirit and for your subconscious and conscious mind to pick the penny up and have exuberance and say, yay, increase, or whatever, just whatever it is that you say, because it is acknowledging that though this isn't $1,000, it's more than I had a few seconds ago, because this opportunity wasn't even available here for me to pick it up. But whether I randomly walk past it or whatever happens, somebody drops some money and they're not reclaiming it, because we're not trying to take people's money, but we're also just trying to be aware of an opportunity for increase. So accounting for your time does the same. So what I recommend that you do is just be aware, and maybe you want to say a prayer, maybe you want to meditate again, or say a prayer and say, help me to be aware of moments of 10 to 15 minute windows. 10 to 15 minute windows. So I share the example of maybe sitting in a doctor's office where you're waiting, whether it's for your appointment or you're waiting with someone else. that is 10 to 15 minutes that you can be using to feed your spirit. So again, this is just one way that you can focus on being or owning more of your time, so that you in reality can own more of your life and eventually own more of your money, so that you can have the kind of independence that you desire. Okay, hopefully this was helpful for you. Drop something in the comments if it was, and more importantly, if you will, for me, simply share this. I'd appreciate it. Again, this is Renita, executive producer of the Better Money Story Project, and I'll be sharing more videos and more tips so that you can create gradual job independence to create the life you want. All right, take care.